There's a strange phenomenon going on with entertainment these days where a set photo, a casting choice, a picture, a still image is released online, in this case, Snow White, Rachel Zegler, and these pictures are criticized for what they are, for the casting choice. And if you criticize this in any way, shape, or form, you're immediately labeled an istophobe, a bigot, a misogynist, a whatever sort of phobic, derogatory term that the mainstream media and the lunatics on Twitter can put out there. The issue here is it's the only thing people can criticize, people can talk about. Is it trolls? Is it racist? Is it this? It's probably all of the above. But when set photos come out and criticism of Rachel Zegler playing Snow White and that she doesn't look like the character, her description doesn't fit Rachel Zegler's looks. And if you criticize that, you're immediately called phobic. You're immediately called a bigot. And I think it's a bit ridiculous. In this article from MovieWeb, Rachel Zegler is about to learn the Streisand effect. Rachel Zegler responds to online Snow White criticism. Criticism. At least they say it correctly here. Criticism. Following the set photo diversity backlash. It's a red flag when they go on to a diversity hire, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Rachel Zegler has asked social media users to stop tagging her in comments about the recent set images of Disney's Snow White. Now, of course, as we all know, people online, when you ask them to stop doing something, they're absolutely going to stop doing it, right? Of course they are, because that's what the internet does. Over the weekend, a number of set photos reported to be from Disney's live-action Snow White movie instigated a wave of online backlash against the movie for replacing its 7 dwarves with 7 diverse people of different races, size, and gender. Well, yes, because the movie, the story, is called Snow White and the 7 Dwarves. Not 7 magical people, not 7 this, 7 that. But the other thing they were criticizing is the look of the costumes, which just looks absolutely abysmal. While there was some initial tousling? Tousling? That's not tussling, is it? Do I not know words? Oh well. Just over whether the images were actually from Disney's reworking of the original animated movies. The images were finally said to be from the set where stand-ins were being used to work out some positioning and template shots. The only stand-ins were for Rachel Zegler and the actor playing Prince Charming. Nothing was said about the dwarves, the people playing the dwarves. So it's easy enough, safe to assume that those are the actors playing the dwarves, or the not dwarves. Let's see. However, even though the images do not represent what will be seen on screen, they're a good indication. Sorry. That did not stop those commenting from tagging the movie's lead, Rachel Zegler, in their posts and forcing her. Forcing her? Wow, that's a bit... that's more hyperbolic than I can be. And forcing her to post her own response. No one's forcing you to respond on social media. No one's forcing you to respond on Twitter, to acknowledge Twitter. As a matter of fact, it's probably be a better idea if actors and actresses and people in high public opinions just get off social media. Get off Twitter. Because there's nothing you can say that will make yourself look good. Someone is going to take anything and everything you say, whether it's positive or negative, regardless, whether they like you or they hate you, and they will blow it out of proportion, take it out of context, and use it to push whatever message they want to push. Again, whether it is positive or negative, regardless of what people think about you. It is done. It is the internet. When the casting of Rachel Zegler was originally announced, the usual torrent of online abuse followed as the actress, clutch your pearls, followed as the actress's race became subjected to the same kind of comments that hounded Halle Bailey's casting as Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Again, like I said at the beginning, you're only releasing photos. So the first thing that people are going to criticize is the look of the character. Now, I know there was a lot of nonsense that came out with Halle Bailey being cast as a mermaid, or at least that's what they tried to twist it as. A black woman can't be a mermaid. Insert this racial stereotype, racial composition. This person can't be a mermaid. And it's like, no. The main backlash was that She didn't look like Ariel, the actual character of Ariel. In this case, Rachel Zegler. How much does she look like Snow White? Personally, I couldn't care less about any of these sorts of castings. If you saw the casting of Astrid for How to Train Your Dragon, does she look like Astrid? No. Do I care? No. I just don't think the live action How to Train Your Dragon should be made at all. I don't think any of these live action abominations should be made because it is Disney trying to cash in on the success of one or two movies and checking a box to fit some sort of ideological agenda. Just my opinion. And ultimately, the movies come out looking like garbage. Not even my kids wanted to finish watching The Little Mermaid live action, not because of the casting, but because of the movie in and of itself. It was just bad, and I don't expect much less or much more from a live action Snow White. Let's get back to this. So Rachel Zegler put out this little post right here, and then I'm going to have something to say about it as well. Extremely appreciative of the love I feel from those defending me online, but please don't tag me in these nonsensical discourse about my casting. I really, truly do not want to see it. Well, then get off Twitter. Because now that online trolls, and yes, they do exist, just to rile you up, there's no denying that. Online trolls are on both sides of the political fence. And of course, trying to politicize any of these criticisms is just nonsensical as well. But the moment you say, stop doing this, I don't like it, online, on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, the moment you say that, people are going to go, aha, a challenge, and they will go out of their way to tag you in anything and everything they can find, whether it's positive or negative. Well, maybe not the positive stuff, but if it's the negative, if it's the criticism of the casting, of the acting, of the sound, stage, whatever, they're going to go out of their way to tag you in as many posts as humanly possible, to flood your inbox with everything they can. Why? Because that's how people get their jollies. They get that little dopamine hit of, haha, got under her skin, got under his skin, and it's done on both sides of the political fence. Her tweet continues, so I leave you with these photos. I hope every child knows that they can be a princess no matter what. Well, if that's the case, then why is there such this massive movement to have all these different ethnicities so they can be seen on screen, so that they can relate to the people that they see on screen? Because if it's a white woman playing Snow White, well, all other ethnicities are not able to see themselves as the character. Do you think only black people could relate to T'Challa in Black Panther? Do you genuinely believe that? That there's no white person, Hispanic person, Asian, whatever, Saudi Arabian? Do you think none of those people were able to relate to the character and the story of the Black Panther and T'Challa? And if you do believe that, you have some issues that you need to get over yourself. Because that's why these characters, the classic example is Spider-Man. The reason why Spider-Man wore a mask is because Stan Lee said that anyone could, I believe he said that. Somebody said it. And if somebody didn't, I'm saying it now. I'm not that smart. Anyone could relate to Spider-Man. Anyone could be Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Verse took that to the umpteenth level. The ability to relate to a character should not be restricted to such superficial aspects of the character. It's always more than that. It shouldn't matter whether it's a man or a woman or a trans or a gay, heterosexual, homosexual, asexual, transsexual. None of that should matter. These are superficial aspects of the human being that 9 times out of 10, they don't really have any control over. It's the character's actions, their journey, the things that they go through. Those are the things that you should be able to relate to. But then again, what do I know? I'm not in Hollywood. The article continues. The post was accompanied with Zegler's own childhood photos of her dressed up as a number of princesses, including Snow White, which tells me that Rachel Zegler had no problem relating to the character of Snow White, even though Snow White had skin as white as snow, hence the name. I don't understand, and I don't think I ever will, this nonsensical, superficial push to have the only way you can relate to the character is if you look exactly like them as far as your skin tone goes. Rachel Zegler has spoken out against online trolls in the past. Well, good for you. I'm sure it had a lasting effect on the trolls, and they woke up and said, I just have to change my life. What I'm doing is mean. I have to do something about it. One thing that is certain is that Rachel Zegler has come from nowhere to be an instant star in Hollywood. Okay. Having secured the lead role of Maria in Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story, the actress has gone on to have prominent roles in Shazam. Oh, that's where I recognize her from. Okay, that's cool. I knew I recognized her from somewhere. I actually watched Shazam: Fury of the Gods. And the upcoming Hunger Games prequel, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. However, her casting as Snow White is the one that brought much online trolling, because it's online. Trolls are going to troll, and there's no amount of please don't stop, please don't do that is going to stop them from doing that. Just ignore them. Don't give them the attention that they so desperately need in their lives. Because the whole purpose of trolling is to get that little bit of attention. To let the troll know that just for a brief second you got under their skin and they're going to do it more and more and more. That is the purpose. That is the goal of the online troll. And again, trolls are on all spectrums, all beliefs, ideologies, religions, genders, sexualities. They exist. There is no discrimination when it comes to the troll. They hate everyone equally. Let's see. Where the hell was I? However, her casting as Snow White is the one that brought her the much online trolling with it. And after watching Halle Bailey go through the same kind of criticism, superficial criticism, but criticism nonetheless, Zegler previously tore into those looking to post hurtful comments purely based on race. Pushing this false, primarily false narrative that everyone had a problem because of Halle Bailey's race and that a black woman can't be a mermaid. There were those out there, and those people are stupid. The criticism that Halle Bailey didn't look like Ariel was the more dominant one. And that's only when the casting choice and the photos came out. Once the movie came out, which I do honestly predict the same thing is going to happen with Snow White, no matter how much the mainstream tries to push otherwise, when the movie came out, more of the criticism was put onto the movie itself, the other actors in and of themselves, and less on Halle Bailey. When one Twitter user commented that they were happy with Zegler's casting of Snow White, but didn't agree with Bailey being given the role of Ariel, Zegler responded by telling them, if you don't support my girl Haley, who is the perfect... No, she was not the perfect Ariel. I'm sorry. You don't support any of us. So someone has a different opinion than you, so obviously they don't support all of you. Isn't that lovely? Of course, we are yet to see any actual footage of how Disney's Snow White will actually look. I thought there were some photos of her in her outfit. Oh, in the final film. No, there's nothing about the action or anything like that. I predict this movie is going to land like a wet fart, just like Little Mermaid did. It's going to have a massive budget, an overblown, overdone budget, released to the theaters. It will land exceptionally well with a lot of people, but not enough for it to make a profit. And that's unfortunate. Maybe, just maybe, Hollywood should start going to smaller budgets instead of constantly shooting for the massive big budget blockbuster that they thought they could continue to get with franchises like Star Wars, what they thought they could get with Indiana Jones, and failed miserably in that department. Do away with the live-action adaptations. They're not necessary. Remaster and re-release the classics, and you'll just print money. Criticizing the 1937 story, it's not 1937 anymore, is ridiculous. It's a story that will stand the test of time. Rachel Zegler coming out and saying that, oh, Snow White doesn't need a man. Well, then you're bastardizing the story. You're completely changing the story to suit your own needs. Instead of butchering a beloved classic, that honestly, well, instead of butchering a beloved classic, make your own story. But I guess you can't because Hollywood is creatively bankrupt and the writers who believe they deserve more couldn't write their way out of a paper bag. But hey, what do I know? Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, leave a dislike. I appreciate you making it this far. Have a good one.